Well, hand me the cup. Oh! I'm sorry, my child. You have the grim. Everybody, my name is Courtney and I am with the Beaver County Library System or Commission. I am the event coordinator there and also a Potterhead. So today I'm going to read you a little piece from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban and my favorite character, obviously, Professor Trelawney. I wish I could see into the future. If I could, I would have run fast away and warned everybody about this grim reality. But as we know, in Harry Potter, it does get better. So let's get started.
Welcome to Divination, said Professor Trelawney, who had seated herself in a winged armchair in front of the fire. My name is Professor Trelawney. You may not have seen me before. I find that descending too often into the hustle and bustle of the main school clouds my inner eye. Professor Trelawney delicately rearranged her shawl and continued. So, you may have chosen to study divination, the most difficult of all magical arts. I must warn you, at the outset that if you do not have the sight, there's very little I will be able to teach you. Books can only take you so far, I honestly feel. At these words, both Harry and Ron glanced, grinning at Hermione, who looked startled at the news that books wouldn't be much help in this subject. Now, many witches and wizards, talented though they are in the area of loud bangs, smells, and sudden disappearings, are yet unable to penetrate the veiled mysteries of the future. Professor Trelawney went on. 'Tis a gift granted to few. You, boy, she said suddenly to Neville, who almost toppled off of his poof. Is your grandmother quite well? I think so, said Neville tremulously. I wouldn't be so sure if I were you, dear, said Professor Trelawney. We will be covering the basic methods of divination this year. The first term will be devoted to reading the tea leaves. Next term we shall progress to palmistry. By the way, my dear, she shot suddenly at Parvati Patel, beware a red-haired man. And Parvati gave a startled look at Ron. In the summer term, Professor Trelawney went on, we shall progress to the crystal ball if we have finished with firemen's, that is. Unfortunately, classes will be disrupted in February by a nasty bout of flu. I myself will lose my voice. And around Easter, one of our number will leave us forever. I wonder, dear, she said to Lavender Brown, who was nearest and shrank back in her chair, if you could pass me the largest silver teapot. Lavender, looking relieved, stood up. Incidentally, that thing you're dreading will happen, yes, on Friday, the 16th of October. Lavender trembled. Now, I want you all to divide into pairs. Collect a teacup from the shelf, come to me, and I will fill it. Then, sit down and drink. Drink only until the dregs remain. Swirl these around in the cup 3 times with the left hand, then turn the cup upside down on its saucer. Wait for the last of the tea to drain away, and then give your cup to your partner to read. You will interpret the patterns using pages 5 and 6 of Unfogging the Future. I shall move among you, helping and instructing. Oh, and dear, she caught Neville by the arm as he made to stand up. After you've broken your first cup, would you please be so kind as to select one of the blue pattern ones, rather attached to the pink? And sure enough, Neville had no sooner reached the shelf of teacups than there was a tinkle of breaking china. Professor Trelawney swept over him, holding a dustpan and brush, and said, One of the blue ones then, dear, if you wouldn't mind. Professor Trelawney whirled around as Harry let out a snort of laughter. "Let me see that, my dear," she said to Ron, sweeping over and snatching Harry's cup from him. Everyone went quiet to watch. Professor Trelawney was staring into the teacup, rotating it anti-clockwise. "The falcon. My dear, you have a deadly enemy." She lowered her huge eyes to Harry's cup again and continued to turn it. The club. An attack? Dear, this is not a happy cup." "I thought that was a bowler hat," said Ron sheepishly. "The skull. Danger in your path, my dear." Everyone was staring, transfixed, at Professor Trelawney, who gave the cup a final turn, gasped, and then screamed. There was another tinkle of breaking china. Neville had smashed his second cup, and Professor Trelawney sank into a vacant armchair, her glittering hand at her heart and her eyes closed. "My dear boy, my poor dear boy, no. No, it's kind of not to say no. Don't ask me." "What is it, Professor?" said Dean Thomas at once. Everyone had got to their feet, and slowly they crowded around Harry and Ron's table, pressing close to Professor Trelawney's chair to get a good look at Harry's cup. "My dear," Professor Trelawney's huge eyes opened dramatically. "You have the Grim. The Grim, my dear, the Grim," cried Professor Trelawney, who looked shocked that Harry hadn't understood. "The giant spectral dog that haunts churchyards, my dear boy. It's in his omen. The worst omen of death." Professor Trelawney surveyed Hermione with mounting dislike. "You'll forgive me for saying so, my dear, but I perceive very little aura around you. Very little receptivity to the resonances of the future. Until we meet again," said Professor Trelawney faintly. "Fair fortune be yours. Oh, and dear," she pointed at Neville, "you'll be late next time, so mind you work extra hard to catch up."